So, artificial intelligence refers to the ability of machines or a computer to think, learn, and act like humans. Artificial intelligence uses a very much advanced technology to make humans' tasks more efficient. It uses data, problem solving, it can make decisions, and even communicate with humans with surprising accuracy. And with artificial intelligence, the way it works is that it takes data from the internet, it tests it, measures it, and then learns from it. So anything that we put into an AI machine, it starts to learn from it so it can grow and become smarter. So later today, I'm going to show you an actual AI program that's free that anyone can use at the moment. And you're going to see how it learns from us and how it actually communicates like a human. Does anybody have any questions so far? So we are now going to watch a short video so you can get a little introduction of what exactly is AI, and then we'll go over the different programs. So we're gonna play this video. Let me just play it for everyone.
What is AI? AI stands for Artificial Intelligence, and it's a way for computers to learn and work kind of like us. You can think of AI as a brain for a computer. Similar to how we use our brains to learn and make decisions, AI uses special computer programs to do the same thing. With AI, computers can help us with the stuff that would be really hard for people to do on their own. They can help doctors diagnose diseases, allow us to predict the weather more accurately, and even play video games. It works by using software to look at lots of information and find patterns. Just like how you can tell the difference between a dog and a cat, AI can learn to recognize things too. There are three main types of AI: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. Each type learns in its own special way, but they all use lots of data to get better at what they do. AI is important because it helps us do things faster, more accurately, and sometimes even better than we could on our own. Plus, it can help us solve really complex problems that we might not be able to figure out by ourselves. With AI, the possibilities are endless. From self-driving cars to personal assistants, AI is changing the way we live and work. So the next time you hear about AI, just remember that it's like a smart brain for computers, helping us to solve big problems and do things we never thought possible. To learn more about AI, check out our website at gcfglobal.org.
Okay, let's go back to the presentation. So, does anybody have any questions on that short video that we just watched?
Should we subscribe to this video? Look at the name they mentioned on it for further information.
You can. They probably that video that I took from is essentially a website that does different computer tutorials. So you can go to it for more information. It's called GCF Learning, and they do different topics of various things that have to do with the computer, not just AI. But you can subscribe to it, yes. GCF Learning. Hold on. I will put it in the chat for everybody. So with artificial intelligence, one thing that you are going to start seeing a lot, or maybe you have already noticed, are AI-powered chatbots. So I'll give you an example right now. Sometimes if you have been on the computer, even on your phone, and you visit a website, and all of a sudden on the bottom of your phone or on the corner of the computer, you kind of get this like pop-up that says like need help, chat here, or like customer support, talk to an agent right now. You may get that pop-up screen. And sometimes these chat bots are not really a human that you're talking to. It's just a computer that's been trained to have human-like conversations. So like maybe the next time when you just aren't on a website and you need help with something, you get this chat bot and then it starts answering questions of how you can navigate the website. Sometimes it's really used on like shopping websites, like if you need help when you're shopping on something, or maybe like if you're online for like insurance or something that a service that you're looking for online, you kind of get these chat bots. So they're used like in all different scenarios, whether that's in customer service or in sales. When you're looking to buy something online, you could see this type of chat bot. Um, so with these AI chatbots, what they do is that they use the information from previous conversations or documentation from their actual customer support agents to grow and to so they can grow to have more human-like conversations. So they just use the type of data to understand the language of how humans talk, the context, and the intent. So the next time you have a question when you're trying to buy something online, maybe it's like a program for your computer, or maybe it's just a clothing item. The questions that you will ask, you'll get responses back from these chat bots because they're trained now to talk like a human. Sometimes though, like they're not 100% perfect, right? So that's what I'm gonna talk about with the cons of AI, right? They're not um built to be like a human exactly, right? They're going to make mistakes. So sometimes they're not going to answer your question the way that you intended it. So eventually, yes, you can talk to an actual agent, a representative from these companies, but people just use these AI powered chat bots to kind of save some time if you just have simple questions, but of course they can't answer everything. And this is just one case where you may see artificial intelligence happening. This is kind of one of the first things that people will use it for, but now it's across all different industries, which I will go over soon. Does anybody have any questions on this?
Can they steal your identity if you engage with them? Get information about you?
They can't steal your identity, but they do gather things about you to learn more about how humans act. And I am going to discuss that when we talk about the cons of AI, like our privacy and security. They don't really like steal your information where they can impersonate you, but they can take your information to learn more about how humans act.
I have a question.
Yes.
I've been having to call New York City government agencies quite a bit over the last several months. They put you on with a chat bot, I think, and no matter what you ask for, they will not connect you to a person. So there must be something in their software that says no matter what, don't connect anybody to a representative, because I've tried so many words and phrases and they misinterpret my questions, and
Mm.
I keep saying customer service representative. and it's very frustrating. They really basically shut off service between you and the government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when I did the class in the center, someone kind of had a similar response as you, where they said what they try to do, not with the government, maybe not your organization you're trying to contact, but let's say they can't get through with an agent with whoever they were trying to contact, they just press 0 and it leads to an agent, but I'm not sure it will work with the company you're talking about.
Mm,
But maybe you could try that if you haven't already.
okay. I think,
So, oh
go
yes.
ahead. I think I have tried it,
Oh, okay.
but go ahead. Sorry.
ChatGPT stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Has anyone here today heard of ChatGPT?
No.
No, okay. So ChatGPT is one of the newest models or artificial intelligence tools where you can essentially have human-like conversations with this chat bot. And it's a tool that can be used to answer questions, write essays, and just generate any kind of text that you may ask for it. So if we think about when we go on the computer and we go on Google and we ask Google a question like, when is Christmas or something? When is this certain holiday? Or we ask Google anything about history question or information about a medical issue, information about insurance, so on. We go on Google for a bunch of things. We go on Google to find clothing online, so on. Instead of doing your research on Google, we can actually use ChatGPT to do the same thing, where instead it gives our information like we're talking with another human. So with Google, you would just ask a straightforward question. Whereas with ChatGPT, you can actually have a conversation format. And I'm going to show you the program and actually how it works. And there are many different industries that are using ChatGPT for personal use, creative use, and so on. And in the next slide, I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT. But if you see here on the screen, this program launched in November 30th, 2022. So it actually is a fairly new program. And since ChatGPT, there are now other of free artificial intelligence programs that you can use as well to have a conversation with, to generate information maybe about art. So like if you're interested in art, there's different types of artificial intelligence programs that you can use based on your interest. But I'm going to show you how it works so you can become more familiar with what it actually can do when I say that instead of doing something on Google, you can use ChatGPT now to find information. So these are some examples of how people will use it. And then I'm actually going to show it in action so everyone can see today. But with ChatGPT, right, you can use it creatively, personally, or to even learn something. So you can use it as a travel itinerary, which is just one example of the many things it can do. You can ask ChatGPT to find you the best hotels in an area, to create a 5-day itinerary to a country you're traveling to, tell you what times of the seasons are best to visit some place. You can tell it to write you a resume or a cover letter for a specific job, and you can tell ChatGPT what you are trying to get hired for and to personalize your resume for that specific job. There's also, you can use it to answer homework questions. So if kids are using it or people in schools and colleges, you can answer homework questions. Creatively, you can use it to write a poem for you, a song, maybe gift ideas for the upcoming holidays, and even recipe ideas. And then lastly, you can use it to learn a new language, how to write in code. So if you're someone that's interested in computer science, or even just someone who's interested in learning computer topics, you can ask ChatGPT, tell me how to do this on the computer, and it will respond to you. And just learning about anything like history topics as well. So ChatGPT can work on a computer, and it also can work on a smartphone, both iPhone and Android. They recently just made an app for ChatGPT, but I'm gonna show it today on a computer, and it's the same exact thing of how it looks. Just keep in mind that in order to use ChatGPT, you do have to create an email address and a password. So with Google, right, you just click on Google and you just type whatever you want, right? You don't have to put an email address or a password. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Yes. Do you have to pay monthly for that?
So there are two versions of ChatGPT. There's a
Because I
free
just
version.
look, yeah, I just
Yes.
looked it up, and some charges monthly.
Yes, there's a free version, which I'm going to show you today.
Oh, okay, good, good.
And then there is a paid one that's $20 a month that is faster. So the thing with ChatGPT is that since it has come out in November, over 100 million people have decided to start using this service. So unlike Google, where anybody at any time can use Google, sometimes ChatGPT closes depending on how many users are on it. So it might say the program at the moment is full, come back later. If you want to just be able to use it anytime you want, that's when people pay for it for $20 a month. Did someone else have a question?
Yes, you said iPhone, but will it also work on the iPad?
Yes, it can work on the iPad.
Okay,
And
thank you.
how do you get onto it? How do you actually
You
get
have to
on?
download the app ChatGPT.
Okay, thank you.
If you're
Can it
using a
think of,
yes.
sorry, I was going to say, can it think of questions that you didn't ask or should have?
Oh, it depends. Depending on the topic that you're asking it, because then you have to keep going back and forth with a conversation. It kind of just like depends on the topic. But probably, yes. I'm gonna go to it right now. This is how it looks like, ChatGPT. I already put in my email address and password, so this is how the screen looks like. I already passed that part, but yes, when you get to ChatGPT, you do need to put an email address and password. And I'm going to ask it something so you can see exactly how it works, okay? So I'm just going to, I wrote some prompts already, so I don't have to waste time with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how it can just help you learn a language, right? So you can use it to translate any text in over 25 languages. So I just said, can you translate the following text in Spanish for me? And as you can see, immediately it translated what I wanted, and it didn't even take longer than 5 seconds. And Google does this too, right? You could translate text, but I'm just showing you some different features it could do. So that's just one thing. Another thing is I said that you can use it as a travel itinerary, right? So what I'm going to put into ChatGPT is that I'm heading to Italy in January for 5 days. Can you give me a travel itinerary for Italy? And so you can see right now how this is a conversation, right? You wouldn't tell Google, I'm heading to Italy in January. In Google, you would just put in, what are the best things to do in Italy? You wouldn't like talk to it like a conversation, like how I am doing right now. So here it goes. I told them that I'm going to Italy in January for 5 days and to create me itinerary. And as you can see, it's telling me where to go for 5 days and the things you can do there in the morning, evening, and morning, afternoon, and evening. And you can even make it more specific depending on, let's say you want to fly out from JFK, if you're on a budget, if you want to do a specific thing, you can add that in your conversation. So here we have what they said. Day 1, arrival in Rome, morning, settle into your accommodation, visit the Colosseum, evening, stroll around the historic center and enjoy a traditional Italian dinner. Day 2, go to the Vatican City, and so on. And then when we hit another city, it says morning, take the high-speed train to Florence, and it even tells you how long the Florence train might be, approximately 2 hours. So that's just one thing that you can do. And I gave it a very basic thing, but you can adjust it to how you would want it to say. Whereas if you just say it basic, it just gives you the simple layouts. But something like this, right? Google cannot give you. You yourself would have to do research through different articles. Whereas here with ChatGPT, it immediately just gives you itinerary, right? You don't have to look at tons of different articles to figure out where to go, what are the popular sites. It lays it out for you.
You know, I'm surprised because you asked the question, it's very broad.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that the chat GPT would have a conversation and say, where are you going to, Italy is big. Where do you want to be in Italy? They would ask that question. I'm thinking, why don't they have a conversation? How do you know you're going to be in Rome and Florence,
Yeah, because you're right. That's what I said. That is very broad. So you would have to input that information of like what cities you would want to go to. It doesn't necessarily always ask you a question back unless, like I said, it depends on the topic. Like let's say you're playing a game with ChatGPT, it might ask you a question back, or if you say let's play trivia, it will ask you a question back. But if it's just like a travel itinerary and you make it a broad statement, it won't necessarily say anything back. At the ending, it says, remember to check opening hours and availability for attractions, especially in January, where some sites may have adjusted schedules. Also be prepared for cooler weather. Enjoy your trip to Italy. So that's kind of their conversation at the ending.
I see.
How many options can you give them? Can you do restaurants, travel times, 5 things that you want them to answer? Can they answer all 5 of those at once?
Yeah, so yes, you can ask it as many things as you want, but because I do have the free version, ChatGPT is limited to look at the internet from 2021. So any data after 2021, it cannot provide for you. So let's say you ask ChatGPT, what is the best restaurant currently from 2023 in Italy? It will respond back and say, I do not have that information. Or if you say, what are the best times for this attraction? It will give you data from 2021. If you pay for the $20 a month, it will give you updated information from right now, the current date. And that's just a brand new feature that just came out 2 days ago. So before 2 days ago, ChatGPT for every user, whether you were paying $20 or whether you weren't, could only look at the data from 2021. Okay. So let's give it another question. Okay, so another question I'm gonna give them is, I am vegan and need new recipes. Can you give me some ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And as you can see, it's giving me some different recipe ideas with the ingredients and how to cook it, some of them. And let's say you're someone that is particular on certain ingredients, like you only like lettuce and tomatoes, you're allergic to some ingredients and so on. You can add that in your question and they will change the suggestions that they give you. Or if you're someone that's going grocery shopping and you say, hi, I only have $100 to spend in the at the grocery, can you give me suggestions that will make $100? And they'll also do that as well. Okay. All right. So that's like some of the things that you can do to learn or things personally. But ChatGPT is also something that you can do for fun or creative, or if you have a creative side, you can use this as well. Oh. So I said, the next thing I'm going to say is, can you write me a poem about rainy afternoons in the style of William Shakespeare? And as you can see, it's creating me a poem with the style of the poet. And this is something that you can do for songs and so on. And also this thing changes, right? So let's say someone here today does ask ChatGPT the same exact question that I asked. It will change from time because once again, how artificial intelligence works is that it scouts the internet and grows upon data. So it's never going to generate the same exact content is always going to be a bit different from other responses. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, and this is like a last thing that you can use it for. So well, this is just many of the things that you can use it for, but this is the last thing that I'll show you. So I just said, create a 30-day exercise program that will assist me in dropping 2 pounds every week.
Can you print this up? Can you print it out, what they give you?
Yeah, you can print it out.
How do you
No.
know that it's giving you a good exercise program? It might not be something your doctor would give you, or it doesn't say what its sources are.
Right. So as you can see, before they sent it to you, it says, remember to combine this with a balanced and calorie-controlled diet. Always consult a healthcare professional before starting any new exercise regimen. So, right, things like that have to do with health, or like right now, what I just said with exercise program. ChatGPT is not going to be 100% accurate in that. So this is not something you would use to say like, okay, this is what I'm gonna follow. This is the most accurate thing. This is just kind of giving you ideas that it can assist you with, but not something that you should follow and think that what they said is exactly the perfect thing. And that's why later when I talk about the cons, you'll see that any program that you use, even this one here, right, it's not going to be 100% accurate. And as you can see, no, it doesn't cite any data, and it won't cite any data with anything that you put in, because what it's citing is just the internet from various articles. So anything that you put in, whether that's health, whether that's a poem that it just created, a recipe, it'll never say like at the ending, like this is cited from this article, because it's not just using one article, it's using millions from across the web and gathering the information to figure out what would be the best option.
Can people sue chatbot if they like do this exercise that's meant for 20-year-olds, but you're 80 and then you fall down? I mean, is it a corporation that you can
Well,
hold accountable?
No.
no, because
No.
well,
That's a
this
problem.
ChatGPT, when you sign up, right, with everything, it has terms and agreements, terms and conditions and agreements. So when you first sign up with ChatGPT, it lays out information about privacy and security, that it's not accurate. It says that before you sign up. So I don't think they'll be able to sue with that.
Tabitha,
Yes,
when I go into the App Store, I'm not sure which one to choose. They have Owl Chat, Assistant, and Chatbox. Then they have
right.
Chatbox GBT, but has a different logo. Their
Okay.
logo is like a black and white thing. And then when I open it, I don't know where to go with it. It says create a charter, suggest fun activities.
Right. So it's like a white logo and it says ChatGPT, and under it, it should say the official app by OpenAI.
Yes, yes, it
And
does.
that's the one.
But
You're
when
going,
when I
yes.
open it, I can't move on. Do you, it says to make a content strategy, suggest fun activity. It gives you 4 choices.
And you created an account?
No, I haven't created an account because I don't know how to do it. I don't know.
If you give me your email, I could give you more instructions, because today I wasn't going to provide like how to actually make an account, because I was just introducing you to the topic. But if you send me your email, I could give you information on that.
Okay, where do I send my email address to?
So there's a chat box in Zoom if you're using the computers, at the bottom of the screen or smartphone, and you could type the email address in there.
To you, right?
Yeah, to me. So where it says everyone, you can tap it and find where it says my name, RSS, and you can send your email address to me.
I'm not finding.
That's good information
I
for
got it. I
everybody.
got it. I got it.
It's because ChatGPT is not like something that everyone would want to use, especially later when I talk about the cons and the pros. And there's just so many different programs. This is just one that is very popular with over 100 million users. And today was just the introduction. I'm not necessarily just gonna keep talking about ChatGPT. I'm just talking about artificial intelligence. But if anyone else wants like more information on how to make an account, you could also provide your email address to me in the chat.
What is your email address?
Well, I'll put it in the chat.
Del?
Everyone who's been sending it, I'm getting your messages.
Okay. Thank you, Tabitha.
Okay, so that's ChatGPT, which is just one program where artificial intelligence is used, where, as you can see, you could use it for many purposes, have fun with it, have conversations with it. But now I'm going to talk about how AI is used in different industries, okay? So one way AI is used that you probably use today is with Alexa and Siri, voice assistants. So when you ask Siri on an iPhone or iPad a question, it is essentially using artificial intelligence to figure out the best response to give you. Same with Alexa. Now, Alexa and Siri, right? They still kind of talk like a robot. They don't really give us human-like conversations, but it still is scouting the internet, collecting data to figure out what is the best response to provide for us. So that is how Alexa and Siri use artificial intelligence. Another way that, if we saw the video today, it discussed about self-driving cars. So if you know Tesla, which is created by Elon Musk, he has a self-driving cars where you do not have to even press the gas, you don't even have to use the steering wheel, and it will drive on its own in the streets, in the highway, and so on. And it's using artificial intelligence to be able to figure out how to drive on specific roads, not get into car crashes, and so on. But like I said, artificial intelligence is not perfect. That doesn't mean that because Tesla's using this, it's never going to get in a crash. It's never going to take a wrong turn, right? Because it's still growing and it's not perfect. But yes, there are cars right now that can self-drive on their own. Same thing in California, there is a car service that picks you up with no driver. So if you could imagine like calling a Uber or a Lyft and the car comes and there's just no driver. They have that in California right now, which is using artificial intelligence.
But do they
Yes.
get sued there if there's an accident? Them you could sue, right?
I mean, I really don't know the specifics, but
Yeah. Yeah.
probably. I'm not too sure. They probably
Okay.
also you have to sign something before you get into the car.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Another thing is it's also used in healthcare. So with healthcare, right? um what AI does, it analyzes a large amount of data to help identify different patterns, anomalies, and risk factors that might go unnoticed by human doctors. So what AI does is that they can actually monitor patients' health and behavior over time to detect any changes. And also, right now in the healthcare industry, there are new technology to detect breast cancer. So what AI does is right now it's creating new inventions for detecting diseases. So one of them is breast cancer. Also in financial services, right? How do your credit card or your debit card or your bank account and so on, how do they know when there's fraud detection? Well, as well, artificial intelligence is used to understand different algorithms, which is essentially different rules and calculation form to understand whether it doesn't fit a pattern or not. So they figure out from thousands and thousands of transactions whether which ones are ones that are correct and which ones are not, doesn't fit the normal patterns. And then they say, hey, or this doesn't seem like you used your card today, and they might detect it as fraud. And then sometimes, right, it's not accurate. Sometimes it was you that was using the card, but it's understanding different patterns to figure out whether or not it was fraud. And lastly, transportation, right? So if someone here today uses Apple Maps, Google Maps, WAS, and even airplanes, they all use artificial intelligence to figure out where, when, and what time is there going to be traffic, the different trends, so they understand that at a certain time when people get out of work or when kids get out of school, there's going to be more traffic at that time. And that's all used with artificial intelligence. Does anybody have any questions on this slide?
Well, how do you activate Alexa on an Android smartphone?
Well, not all Android smartphones have Alexa because some of Android phones where Google is their own voice assistant.
Mm,
Alexa is actually its own separate equipment that you have to purchase
uh,
from a Best Buy or Target or so on. It's kind
well,
of like a mini speaker that you use and you
mm.
buy it.
How do you then activate the Google microphone on an Android phone?
Usually sometimes it depends like whether you have it on and off in your settings, but if you press like the home button at the bottom of the screen, the little circle, if you hold it down, sometimes that activates the voice assistant. But if that doesn't, it has to do with a certain setting in your phone that's not on. But I'm not too sure right now, because I can't tell what phone you have, and
Right.
each Android phone has like a different setting where you turn it on and off.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions on this slide? Okay. So let's now talk about the different pros of AI, and then we'll go over the cons, right? So what are some of the pros or advantages? Reduce time for data-heavy tasks. So if we saw the video earlier today, right? There's just so many data tasks that a normal human brain cannot comprehend, especially when there's like thousands of things happening on computer machines or any other equipment, depending on like the electrical equipment and things like that. It's just too much data that artificial intelligence is capable of doing that for us. Also, 24/7 availability. So artificial intelligence is working full time, right? So it doesn't have a 9 to 5 job. It's working all the time, no matter what, to figure out once again, right? How do airplanes take off at 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 1 a.m., and so on, and know where to go? Because artificial intelligence is working 24/7, and there's no on and off switch with that. It's implemented now in different equipments and machinery. New inventions, right? So I gave an example about how it can be helpful in the healthcare system if you're going to detect things like a breast cancer or any other diseases now. Um, it's hopefully going to be used in a positive way where we can now detect things faster where humans cannot. Faster decision making. So if we saw today with just one program that's free for everyone to use, Chatgpt, it made the decisions very fast for us when I asked it a question, right? It only took like 5 to 10 seconds to answer what I gave them. And lastly, it lessens risk, right? So today I showed you artificial intelligence that's not something we can actually, hold on. It's not something that we can actually physically pick up, but yes, there are now artificial robots that can be used to mine coal for us, explore the depths of the sea, detect bombs. So things that we wouldn't want to put a human in those scenarios, we can now create artificial intelligence robots to do that for us. So those are some of the pros. But of course, right, AI does come with cons. And the number one thing with artificial intelligence is inaccuracy, right? Artificial intelligence is not perfect. There are things online and on the internet that is wrong. And if artificial intelligence is scouting the internet to figure out the different data and give us the answers, it's not going to be perfect because not everything online is perfect. So it's going to give inaccurate data. Another thing is, right, collects data. So how does artificial intelligence works? It collects data about who we are so it can grow and respond more like have more human-like conversations. So whether you're going to start using ChatGPT or any other future chatbot program in the future, it says it before you use it that it does collect data, that you should not be sharing any personal information about you when you are using the program, because it's using what you are saying into the program to learn about how humans talk through their language and how to respond better. So it has millions of users, and all through those millions of users, it's collecting the data so it can give us the best answers. So I wouldn't recommend when you are using ChatGPT to say, hi, my name is so-and-so, I'm employed at this organization, my insurance is this, can you tell me what's the best plan for me? You shouldn't say those type of questions into ChatGPT because it will collect that data for future responses. So you should just give it broad things, or things like what I said today, like travel itinerary is fine, but you shouldn't really say like about who you are exactly, or things that conditions that you may have or so on. You should just keep it more broad. Lastly, two more things, bias, right? So if biased people are training artificial machines, the system will be polluted with discriminated data, and therefore the results will be biased. So ChatGPT is a free program that 100 million users are using. It's free research that the program is growing on its own. But if 100 million people are using the same exact thing, right? We don't know what other people are using ChatGPT for. What are they saying in these programs? So the AI machine learns from what people put in, and if people are putting in biased information, it could learn to become biased. With ChatGPT though, sometimes it does say, if you put a type of response into it, it does say, sorry, this is violent response, or this is a discriminatory response, I cannot reply to you. It does do that at times, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect and still not learn from that response. And ChatGPT, once again, is just one program, right? Just one. Someone mentioned today that she went on the App Store and she typed in ChatGPT, and there were other apps that look just like ChatGPT, right? So there's other programs that are doing the same exact thing, and if they're not as secure as ChatGPT, where they have responses to let people know not to put in discriminatory information, then those AI machines will become biased. So just be careful with the information that you put in or how they respond. And lastly, dependence. So a big thing at the center was like, now with artificial intelligence, right, we might become dependent on it and not want to problem solve on our own anymore. So ChatGPT or any other program that comes out in the future, or any other artificial intelligence that you want to use, that shouldn't be the only thing that you go to find information, right? We should still be going on Google to search for information, to read articles, read books. We shouldn't just be coming now to artificial intelligence to solve all our problems, because it's not perfect. Does anybody have any questions on that? So someone wrote in the chat that San Francisco cars, self-driving cars in San Francisco, and that the cars have been rear-ended. Those cars are not 100% accurate in driving as well. So just be cautious if you ever see one in the future. They're not going to be perfect in the way they drive. They can get into crashes.
You might have
Yes.
You might have covered this, but if a kid writes a college application based on AI, is there a way of tracking it? Does the admissions office know?
Yes, that's a good question. So that actually has been a common thing that education system is facing at the moment. A lot of children or adults are using these programs to write their homework, their essays. And essentially what they could only do at the moment is there is now another program. I do not know the official name of it, but there is now another program that is used essentially for detecting whether or not what you have written was written by artificial intelligence. So professors and teachers are using that program to insert their students' essays to figure out whether or not artificial intelligence was used to write it. But then that's not always accurate. Sometimes students say that no, their essays weren't written by artificial intelligence. So it's becoming like an ongoing thing in the education system, trying to figure out how to handle this situation of not using it to write essays and so on. But just like with ChatGPT and just like with this older program that's used to detect information, they're still not accurate. So even if they put in a child's essay, sometimes the program will say, no, it wasn't made by AI, even though it was, because it's still not accurate. But hopefully maybe they ban it in schools, like to use it, but it doesn't mean that a kid can go home and just use their personal computer to write the essay.
And if you are writing a resume, you have to give them a lot of information and they make it nice.
You can, but just remember that ChatGPT is collecting information. So what you put in about your resume and who you are, it's collecting that for further use to respond better. So maybe if you're comfortable with that, sure, why not? But if not, you don't want to put everything about you in that ChatGPT.
Right. Right.
And it tells you that when you sign up, it will say that it uses information. So you'll see, you can read the agreements, but it does give you a warning beforehand not to put in personal information about you.
Okay. Thank you.
So does anybody have any final questions about today's presentation?